department and the offensive big department, and so I knew then that Bree Hall was going to have a lot of trouble. I figured that the only way that Bree Hall was going to make this very, very tight roster is if she was able to do something on the defensive end that nobody else could do. And I saw that she looked good against that Brazilian team, but I just had a gut feeling that it wasn't going to be enough. I definitely believe that Bree Hall has skills and talents that can be used on a WNBA roster. Will that be right now or this season? I don't know, because guys,
I know.
But I did have a question though with Indiana, right? Because even though the starters weren't in, like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull they've been in the league for a while. You actually had players who, like Bree Hall, why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut. So I was a little confused with what Steph was doing, but anyway, it is what it is.
Because you got to wonder if there's not something else that's motivating said comments. All right, just especially when you're talking about two young blonde-headed ladies on a basketball team, and you have a black player that just got cut, and Sheryl Swoopes is not happy about that.
Sheryl Swoopes just exploded out of the WNBA vault like your grandma stumbling upon TikTok, fired up, fabulous, and totally fed up. Why? Because Coach Stephanie White benched Bree Hall as if she owed her money, instead giving major minutes to Sophie surprise pick Cunningham. Is this basketball or a soap opera? Grab your popcorn, Swoopes is on a rampage, and it's way more entertaining than your cousin's pyramid scheme. So, what's really happening here? Let's break it down and get to the truth behind the drama.
Sheryl Swoopes, back in the news, getting pushback from fans, calling out Lexi Hull, Sophie Cunningham, calling out Stephanie White. Oh, I don't know about coaching decisions, blah, 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 blah.
Sheryl Swoopes is once again making waves in the WNBA, and the controversy is hotter than ever, though there's no real fire to match the smoke. She's furious, as usual, accusing Indiana Fever head coach Stephanie White of committing basketball crimes simply because she benched Bree Hall and decided to give more playing time to Sophie Cunningham. The drama keeps unfolding, with Swoopes voicing her strong opinions and stirring up the ongoing debate, proving she's never shy about calling out what she sees as injustice.
But to me, when I think about preseason, it really isn't so much for your players that you know are returning, the players that you know are going to make the team, but it's more about, I'm not sure about this particular player. Let me get her in a real life game situation and see how she handles that. But I'm also going to probably play her a few minutes with my starters, right? To see how that looks, how that works. Example.
Somebody get Sheryl Swoopes a hobby, preferably one that doesn't involve rage scrolling the Fever roster like it's a personal attack. Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Remember last season? Caitlin Clark was out here breaking records, revitalizing the WNBA like it was her own renovation project, and boosting ESPN ratings from the Stone Age. Yet, Sheryl Swoopes looked at all that and said, not impressed. When it comes to giving credit, Swoopes seems to treat every compliment as if it's shortening her lifespan by 5 years. Her constant negativity only fuels the drama and distraction. If you support Caitlin Clark, subscribe our channel and comment CC is the GOAT down below.
So for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, like, first of all, black people can't be racist. But like, that's the farthest thing from my mind. I grew up in a very small West Texas town, predominantly white. My best childhood friend is white. Went to predominantly white college, won a national championship. Pretty much everyone on the team was white. Like, we're sisters to this day. Her breaking the record, I think obviously.
Caitlin Clark could literally part the Red Sea, and Swoopes would say the wind did most of the work. After a brief silence, probably broken only by her shouting at her TV every time a Fever highlight aired, she's back. But instead of praising progress or supporting the league's growth, she's ranting about Bree Hall being cut. Bree, who's had less court time than a broken scoreboard, is in Swoopes' mind the secret ingredient holding the franchise together. Forget stats, minutes, or matchups, Sheryl just knows best. Her constant negativity and focus on her personal narratives only add fuel to the ongoing drama.
This is what people don't want to forget to understand. Caitlin Clark is not just leading the country in scoring. She's leading the country in assists. So before people shit on her and say all she does is shoot the ball, she actually is the one dishing the ball too. She placed the record last week, and everyone is congratulating her.
And who did Stephanie White decide to play instead? Sophie Cunningham. You'd think Sophie committed treason the way Swoopes reacted. It's as if making a basketball decision based on skill, fit, or strategy is out of the question. Instead, Swoopes seems to believe there's a massive anti-Bree conspiracy at play, dismissing the coach's judgment and the realities of team dynamics in favor of personal bias and unwarranted accusations.
What do you have to say for yourself? Let's hear you.
But I did have a question though with Indiana, right? Because even though the starters weren't in, like Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull they've been in the league for a while. You actually had players who, like Bree Hall, why wasn't she in that game per se? If you're still trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who you're going to cut. So I was a little confused with what Steph was doing, but anyway, it is what it is.
You were a little confused with what Stephanie White was doing.
We've reached a point where if Swoopes disagrees with a play, it's no longer just a coaching decision, it's viewed as a moral failing. But here's the real twist. Stephanie White isn't coaching to cater to Sheryl Swoopes' personal standards. She's coaching to win games. Crazy, right? The WNBA isn't some reality show where Swoopes sits in a red chair, hitting a buzzer every time someone doesn't meet her high expectations. It's impressive how Swoopes stays so consistently miserable. She'd find something to complain about even if she were handed a bouquet of roses. She's the human embodiment of side-eye, and since 2005, it seems nothing has been good enough for her. Every rising star gets her signature meh, each coaching decision is dissected like a crime scene, and any player who's not her pick of the month is treated as if they stole her parking spot. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues leading, scoring, and elevating the league, yet Swoopes remains the WNBA's unofficial noise machine. It doesn't matter what the topic is, if it's relevant or impactful, she's mad or angry about it. Her persistent negativity often overshadows the league's progress and the achievements of players who deserve recognition. Swoopes' constant criticism and grumbling seem to drain energy from the sport, making it harder to celebrate the growth and talent flourishing around her.
So, as expected, we've heard the old Sheryl Swoopes. We've heard the old Sheryl Swoopes talking about preseason, and obviously Caitlin Clark's a picture here because I'm not showing, we're just going to listen to it, but as expected, never anything positive with the Fever. Never anything positive. In fairness, actually, no, she did say the Fever have a chance of winning, but again, when she's talking about preseason in general, there's something about the Fever. So
if Stephanie White gives Sophie Cunningham just a minute of playing time, Swoopes reacts as if someone keyed her car. Maybe, just maybe, the head coach knows what she's doing. Stephanie White has more coaching experience than Sheryl has critiques in her Twitter drafts. Yet, Swoopes is determined to be the voice of authority, armed with hot takes and the belief that her opinion is law. What makes this even more tiring is the irony. Swoopes built her career breaking barriers, shaking up the game, and being unapologetically dominant. Now? She's become the very person she used to challenge, the gatekeeper, wagging a finger at anything new or different. If Sheryl had her way, the WNBA might be stuck in a 1999 time capsule, no fresh talent, no innovative coaching, just recycled rosters. Every achievement by players like Caitlin Clark is overshadowed by Swoopes' persistent critiques. Her constant negativity drains energy from the sport, and her resistance to change hampers growth. Instead of supporting progress, Swoopes seems more interested in maintaining the status quo, making it harder to celebrate the league's evolution and the new stars rising within it.
What other white girls can I tune up from the Indiana Fever? Yeah, here we are. My goodness, I mean, we've had 2 preseason games. 2. And we're back to it. We're back here. She's criticizing Stephanie White. I bet Sheryl Swoopes hates that last name.
This isn't just criticism, it's cosplay as a grumpy old curmudgeon. But let's really consider what this says. Stephanie White is under immense pressure to rebuild a franchise. She's working with one of the top rookie talents in the country, balancing veteran egos, rookie potential, and a league that's attracting more attention than ever before. Instead of celebrating this growth, we see Swoopes on the sidelines throwing shade as if she's the sun. Now, let's talk about Sophie Cunningham. Is she perfect? No. Is she capable? Absolutely. Does Sheryl Swoopes care? Not in the slightest. If Sophie cured cancer tomorrow, Swoopes would still say she should have passed to Bree Hall. Swoopes' approach is clear: if you're not the player she personally scouted from birth, you don't deserve court time. Bree Hall? Talented, sure. Potentially promising? Maybe. But did she produce enough results or minutes to justify a spot on the final roster? According to Swoopes, yes. According to actual game needs? Not so much. It's like arguing that the Starbucks barista should start at point guard just because they made your latte perfectly once.
You know, I've known Sheryl since she was in college. I helped do her shoe deal with Nike in 1993, took her to her first ESPYs. I've known Sheryl, I've coached her, have a lot of respect for her. And I got off the treadmill and I called her as a friend. And I said, you know, you can say whatever you want. You can have your own opinion about anybody, but you do have to get the statistics right. I mean, facts matter. And if you just get ahead of this and just say, hey, I made a mistake on my numbers, then this thing is over and everybody respects you for your opinion. You know, it's okay to have difference of opinions. Well, she got upset with me on the phone and I was like, Sheryl, you know, I'm not doing anything to hurt you. I'm just sharing. We're talking. And so our relationship it pretty much is not happening at this point. I tried to talk to her at the Final Four. Right. She didn't want to talk to me.
There's a reason why Stephanie White is on the sideline with a clipboard, guiding her team, while Sheryl Swoopes is sitting in the stands with a chip on her shoulder. But here's the real issue: Swoopes' constant negativity doesn't just make her look out of touch, it actually harms the entire league. As the WNBA gains momentum with emerging stars, rising ratings, and growing mainstream recognition, Swoopes remains stuck in the past, dismissing progress with skepticism and dismissive gestures. This attitude sends a harmful message. It suggests that growth and change are threats, and that no matter how much players improve, they'll always be criticized if they don't meet some outdated standard, especially if they aren't Bree Hall. Meanwhile, Stephanie White is actively building the future. Caitlin Clark is smashing records and inspiring fans. As Swoopes voices her discontent, the league continues to thrive and evolve. The team is moving forward, and Swoopes seems upset that she wasn't handed the wheel. Her grudge and negativity threaten to hold back the league's momentum at a time when unity and progress are more important than ever.
The way she's coming at it is wrong. To say that the preseason is about these new players and seeing who makes it is a very, very limited view of what it's about in any sport. Is that part of it? Yes. For some teams might already know. They might have extra players in camp because they have those players to be there and help out in terms of the training camp and everything, but they have no intention of ever offering them a contract or putting them on the roster. But there are multiple things involved in what a team is looking at for the preseason going into the season.
Maybe it's time to accept that not every coaching decision is a personal attack. Maybe it's okay for new stars to rise without the constant soundtrack of bitterness. Perhaps the universe won't end if the league moves forward without a full-time hater in residence spewing negativity. Fans tune in for exciting plays, buzzer beaters, and compelling drama on the court, not endless drama in the comments section. If Swoopes can't distinguish between honest critique and relentless complaining, maybe it's time to hit the mute button. Now, let's really examine the layered absurdity of it all. Stephanie White makes a roster cut, something every coach in every league on every planet does, and suddenly Sheryl Swoopes acts as if Bree Hall is the second coming of Diana Taurasi, with a sprinkle of LeBron James thrown in. Bree Hall, who had fewer preseason highlights than a WNBA mascot, is somehow being groomed as a star before she even signs a guaranteed contract. And the audacity, the full-throttle nerve, to get upset about Sophie Cunningham getting minutes? Sophie, who's been in the league long enough to understand shot clock management, is now cast as the villain in this bizarre Swoopes-led daytime soap opera. The whole spectacle is a testament to how misplaced some of that negativity really is.
So yeah, you have the right to talk about whoever you want on your podcast. You have the right. You absolutely have that right. You know what people expect from you? Is that you actually provide actual, objective commentary when you're speaking about a team that is literally carried by that player.
You'd think Stephanie White walked into a press conference and declared, "I hate talent and joy, so I'm starting Sophie out of spite." But no, what actually happened is White made a basketball decision, while Sheryl interpreted it as a personal betrayal of the WNBA Constitution. In the Church of Swoopes, there are only 2 commandments: thou shalt not praise Caitlin Clark, and thou shalt not question Sheryl's opinions. Break either one, and may the basketball gods have mercy on your soul. Meanwhile, in the real world, Caitlin Clark is doing everything short of walking on water while dribbling. She's breaking viewership records for preseason games, something that usually has the production value of a middle school scrimmage. She's selling out arenas, dragging an entire franchise into national relevance just by showing up and hitting logo threes as if she's playing on rookie mode. And yet, still, Sheryl can't even muster a lukewarm compliment without sounding like she's chewing on gravel. Let's not forget, this isn't new behavior. Last season, when Clark was the talk of the town, bringing millions of new eyes to the game, Swoopes' response was basically, well, she missed a few layups once in 2021. She could be averaging a quadruple-double and curing male pattern baldness at halftime, and Swoopes would still find a way to criticize her footwork as slightly off.
Y'all know, man, it was only a matter of time before Sheryl Swoopes said something and the fans were gonna be all over her, man.
It's not just criticism, it's resentment disguised as commentary, complete with a whistle. What makes this even more painfully funny is that Sheryl was that girl once, dominant, unstoppable, the face of the WNBA for a fleeting moment. You'd think she'd see Caitlin Clark and recognize a continuation of her own legacy, someone carrying the torch forward. But no. Instead, Sheryl perceives Clark as a threat to her reputation. It's not mentorship, it's misery masking as critique. As for Stephanie White, she's simply trying to do her job, coaching a team with rookies facing huge expectations, veterans eager to prove themselves, and an audience that's bigger and louder than ever. You'd think a former player like Sheryl would understand those pressures. Instead, she's basically live tweeting from the rafters, playing the part of basketball-themed Statler and Waldorf. Oh no! Sophie Cunningham made a layup. The horror. Why wasn't that Bree Hall, who once confidently blinked during a timeout? This spectacle has become more about personal grudges than the game itself, turning what should be competitive excitement into a petty sideshow.
You come out here and just hate for the sake of hating.
Yeah.
If you don't, shut the fuck up, Sheryl Swoopes. How about that? Caitlin Clark is nice. Like, what are you doing? And so, you know, she's probably going to go number 1 to the Indiana Fever, and that's dope to me. I think that's super dope.
Stephanie White doesn't receive nearly enough credit for the chaos she's managing behind the scenes. She's balancing media hype, team chemistry, rookie adaptation, and WNBA politics, all while striving to build a playoff-caliber squad. Yet, Sheryl Swoopes has her magnifying glass out like she's Sherlock Holmes trying to crack the case of why didn't my favorite bench player make the cut. The answer is straightforward, Sheryl, it's professional basketball. Not everyone makes the team, some get cut, some ride the bench, and others end up in suits, ranting on podcasts. But here's the real kicker, if Bree Hall had made the team and Sophie was the one packing her locker, do you think Swoopes would have said a word? Not a chance. Silence. Crickets. Static on the radio. The hypocrisy is louder than Caitlin Clark's fan section. And here's the twist, Sophie Cunningham can actually play. She's physical, confident, and adaptable to multiple schemes. She brings a toughness and edge that any coach would value in a rotation. But to Swoopes, she's public enemy number one just because she exists. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here acting as a one-woman PR machine for the league. Every time she touches the ball, social media erupts like a leaked iPhone reveal. Who benefits from all this attention? Everyone. Even Swoopes, who now has the perfect excuse to revive her grumpy persona by criticizing the most talked about star in women's sports. It's almost poetic. Caitlin ignites the buzz, and Sheryl soaks it up by complaining about her.
Yeah, they did it. I don't see anything really wrong with it. And then on top of that, I mean, we see who got cut. The two players that did not play at all in this game, Jillian and Bree. Neither one of them played in this game and got cut. Now, granted, she could have been thinking about the minutes. Sophie had 34 and Lexi had 32. So maybe she's thinking about the minutes. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, every team is doing it.
If this were a reality show, Caitlin Clark would be the breakout star, Stephanie White the wise mentor guiding the team, and Sheryl Swoopes would be the uninvited aunt barging into confessionals in a bathrobe, demanding camera time. Let's be clear, Bree Hall didn't make the team. That's the whole story, happens all the time in professional sports. But in Sheryl's world, it's a scandal, an outrage, a tragedy deserving congressional hearings. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out here making preseason games feel like the Super Bowl, and Stephanie White is focused on winning basketball games. Yet, everyone else is supposed to stop and mourn Bree Hall as if she's the lost Fab Fifth. Here's the real issue hurting the WNBA. It's not roster cuts, it's not rookie attention, and it's not Sophie Cunningham's highlight reel. It's the constant negativity from personalities like Sheryl Swoopes, who should be nurturing the next generation but would rather sabotage it if things don't align with their personal narratives. Instead of supporting growth and progress, they perpetuate drama and division, undermining the league's future. That's the real problem, an environment where unnecessary criticism and petty rivalries overshadow the game itself and hinder the league's potential to thrive.
Swoopes is among the dumbest people ever and one of the most talented ever. Really, if you look at Sheryl Swoopes' basketball history, she certainly should be considered among the greats. But all that goes away when you're inherently stupid. Let's be honest, we all know that
Sheryl could have been a guiding light for the league, inspiring the next generation, but instead, she's like a flickering fluorescent bulb in the corner, distracting and causing discomfort. It's time to accept that the WNBA is moving forward, whether Sheryl approves or not. If Bree Hall gets another shot, that's great. If not, life moves on. The league and its fans deserve a break from the endless, exhausting drama of Sheryl's hot take theater. Meanwhile, to Stephanie White, keep doing what you're doing. Wins will come, and eventually, the noise will fade. With Caitlin Clark launching logo three-pointers and filling arenas, the spotlight is only growing brighter. The court needs to be big enough to contain the excitement and the attention. This league is evolving rapidly, fast, and it's thriving with or without Swoopes' approval. Moving forward, the focus should be on the game, the talent, and the fans. Everything else is just noise. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.